So I'm going to talk about a specific use case of Hedera HBAR so that you can understand that it's actually being used and how it's being used, and just one of the many examples of how it's being used. I think it's important. This is crypto for the rest of us, 6 days a week, excluding Sunday, tip, tool, or coin analysis. And I always have to say, I'm a big dumb animal. Don't do what I do. That's my disclaimer. Informational purposes only. And I always disclaim if I happen to own the coin at the time of filming, and I own this crypto, Hedera HBAR. I think this is fascinating because there's a part of this that oftentimes you can watch what someone says about a coin, listen to what they say. Usually there's a bunch of hype, or maybe it's a technical analysis chart like this, or there's not much depth to it, and you might think, is this useful or not? Well, since I own maybe 30 crypto at the moment, not saying that's a good thing, I'm consolidating, but I have quite a few layer ones. I don't know how that's going to shake out. But how is it going to shake out? Well, if it's not useful, it shouldn't be used over time, right? They should die. But if they are useful, great. I did a video earlier on Hedera and the fact that they're doing 10,000 transactions. Can do 10,000 transactions per second. I think I've seen where they've done maybe 6,000 to 8,000 per second, which I think is faster than any other layer one. They state that they're actually throttling it at 10,000. It could be more, and through what they call sharding, it could be unlimited. All right, so let's just assume they have the ability to do it. I believe they use the least amount of energy, and they have the cheapest cost per transaction. What does that all lead to? Well, Avery Dennison, if you're familiar with the labels that you might put on all sorts of things, they created a company, Atma. I think it's how you pronounce it, ATMA. And I believe it means the soul. It's like the soul of a product. So they created another entity. And here on the Hedera site, they have it under, I guess it's under maybe use cases. And they talk about 22 billion items already connected to their cloud, 300 new items added per second, 5,000 global factory participants. This is amazing. Listen to this. Atma's a connected product cloud by Avery Dennison. It's a platform that unlocks the power of connected products by assigning unique digital IDs to everyday items. I'm going to make the case that what they don't talk about, but what I believe is going to happen, is in the short-term lending industries, like OnDeck and the others, I think they are going to explode because of the collateral ability that this is going to give that's never been had before. I've had a retail business, I've had a wholesale business. I understand both sides, so I'm going to give you real-world examples as to how this is actually working for these people. All right. So they're talking about assigning unique digital IDs to everyday items, providing end-to-end tracking, and this is all of the typical marketing speak, if you will. So let's take a look at Atma. So Atma, again, 300 new items per second, 30 billion physical items. Okay, great. So what are they doing? 6 of 20 top apparel brands, they've been going after apparel brands, obviously, use Atma. 6 of the 20 top ones. 4 of 10 top quick service restaurants use Atma. Amazing. Okay. Listen to some of the things they talk about, and then I'll give you some real-world examples. Item level traceability. Capture the full chain of custody along the supply chain and get real-time insights. Track every item along the supply chain. They talk about why that's useful. This, I believe, must have been a press release, spring of 24, new features eliminating handling errors. Okay, this is fascinating. So let me explain. They talk about some of the new features. Here's one. Factory dashboard for scan and pack enables factories to ship accurate stock confidently and cut down on chargebacks. A new consolidated view of the scan and pack solution allows factories to validate the content of a packed carton and its accuracy before it goes out the door. Okay, what's happening here? Let me just give you an example. Let's say that one company is making just glass microwavable dishes, and they're different sizes. And then they've got different covers. The covers have different colors. Okay, each one of those glass dishes, it's a different size with a different color top, is going to have potentially a different ID, a different SKU. They talk about them with different verbiage, but oftentimes when you buy from a wholesaler, they'll say, these are all the SKUs we have. So the 5x8 glass container with the blue top has a different SKU than the 5x8 glass container with the red top. Okay, fair enough. And what'll happen is, let's say that I work for a container store. We have 500 stores across the U.S. And in one area, a certain size sells well, and it has a red top. Maybe it's where the Kansas City Chiefs in that area, Kansas City. Maybe the ones with the blue tops sell better in Dallas, where the Cowboys are. I don't know. They sell differently. Maybe in one area they sell 100 a week, in the other area they only sell 5, in another area they sell 1,000. You get the point. The point is, there's 500 locations. They all need different SKUs. They all need different amounts of SKUs. And now, either each of those stores or corporate puts in an order for all of that. Great. Now the wholesale company's got to put those orders together and ship them individually to each of those 500 places. As you can imagine, because I've been on both sides of this, as a retailer, I've purchased from wholesalers and gotten someone else's entire order before. And they got my entire order. We're talking about pallets and pallets of stuff that now need to be turned around and sent to someone else. Or they just forget certain pieces. Inefficiencies that you don't want. You can imagine just that one order that might happen every month or every quarter or whatever for those 500 stores. They want to pack what's going to the Kansas City stores. They want to pack what's going to those Dallas stores. And they want to make sure that before it goes out the door, it's right. So they're putting everything into boxes. They're putting maybe boxes on pallets. And then they're putting labels on the boxes themselves, because it might be some blue ones and some red ones. And then they're putting on a pallet. And the pallet itself's going to get a label. And they want to make sure that someone's looking to check that the right things are going out the door. Well, now, every single thing gets a unique ID. So you get the idea. The individual items have IDs. The box of whatever's going to that place has unique IDs. All of them on a pallet, and the pallet may have a unique ID. Now they're able to trace all of that and decrease the amount of errors and chargebacks, meaning, hey, we're sending these things back, you sent us the wrong thing, whatever it may be. That in and of itself can make companies way more efficient. And look, technologies, no matter what they are, aren't going to be utilized unless they're helping people essentially make more money or reduce their costs. Which in essence, if you're reducing your costs, you're making more profit, you're making more money. Okay, the next one. Supply chain map enables organizations to visualize their entire supply chain. And they talk about the connected product cloud to visualize all the events recorded throughout the supply chain, all the different pieces that go into something, and it goes out the door, so that all of a sudden you don't have every single bike you send out the door only has one tire, or it's missing one of the brake pads, whatever it may be. But what I really like is the combination of these two things. And what I think is fascinating is the lending of short-term lending to small businesses. Let's just say you have a business on, for example, Amazon. Amazon will offer you loans. They do it based on your past performance, how much you've sold, how much money comes through. They know they can grab some of it. There's not a lot of checking on, for example, your finances and that sort of thing, because they have some data already. They can give you a quick loan. Well, those loans aren't cheap. They're fairly expensive. And if you go outside to places like On Deck, you might get a 6-month short-term loan, and guess what? You have to start paying it back the next day, which isn't all that helpful when you're a small business, because you need to buy the product, and sometimes you pay up front. Then you have to wait till it's shipped to you. Then once you get it, you put it in stock, and then you begin to sell it. So as you can imagine, if you've only got $30,000 and each one of your orders is $10,000 and you need them every week, you can only order for the first 3 weeks. You're out of capital. You still haven't gotten some of the product, which you need to sell to get the money back to make more orders. So what do? You go out and get some loans. Some of those loans are given because of things like they know your past performance. Well, with this, I could foresee a future where those pallets, as they're coming to me, the retailer has a unique ID, which means it can now be collateral. If it can be collateral, then I might be able to get a loan immediately for the purchase of that individual pallet. That would be fascinating. It could all happen in the blink of an eye as I'm making purchases or I'm purchasing, instead of waiting for a longer period of time to actually get a loan. They don't know what the loan's for. I got to start paying back immediately. That's not all that helpful. Now I'm able to get short-term loans on the product that's coming before it has even been shipped to me. and using those items as collateral, which would allow every single purchase to be collateralized. You can see where that's going. So that's just one. Let me point out here the chart. Last time Hedera was around 50 cents. Now it's around 5 cents. So I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to 50 cents again in this next bull run, assuming we have one. That's a 10x from where it is. I believe personally it's going to be worth way more than that. The use cases just go on and on and on in so many different industries and things people haven't even thought of yet. But what matters is that they're the lowest cost per transaction. They're the lowest when it comes to energy, and their transactions per second are through the roof, if not unlimited, and people are using it. I'm sure I'll do more about HBAR and other coins as well. Wanted to keep this short and just give you a perspective, because oftentimes we need to do actual due diligence, if you will, or do our own research to see, are these things really being used? Are they really useful? Because if as I start digging into some of these cryptos, realize maybe I bought something and it's really not that useful or being used, I'm going to have to start getting rid of it, and I'd be sure to let you know when I do. Thanks for watching. I hope we can all make generational wealth together with crypto. Have a good day.